What's good with the fight fans, man? It's Kijana back with my fight predictions. For technically next week's card, there's no fights this weekend. I thought these fights were coming on for this weekend, and I looked at the date and they weren't for this weekend's card. They're taking the weekend off, I guess. So yeah, these are gonna be my prelim predictions. So let's jump straight into it. The first fight, Sasha Polatnikov versus Ramis Brahmaj. Fuck, Ramis hasn't fought in a minute. I think the last person he fought was Max Griffin. I just remember his ear getting completely demolished. His ear was like hanging off the side of his head and shit. Half of it was, at least. It was in the third round. Max Griffin hit him with an elbow and it split his ear completely open. Probably because he has really bad cauliflower ear, and they counted it as a doctor stoppage. It wasn't really that much of an exciting fight anyways. So, I mean, Brahmaj has an 8-3 record. Sasha has a 6-3 record. Sasha's mainly a striker. Ramis is gonna look for grappling positions and trying to get a submission win. I think he has 8 submission wins, 1 KO loss and 2 decision losses. It wasn't really a KO loss, it was just a TKO stoppage. Yeah, his ear just fucking busted wide open towards the end of the fight. It was fucking nasty. I think I'm gonna pick Sasha on this one. I think he can get it done. I definitely think he can get it done on the feet. The only thing I'm worried about is he did have a submission loss, a rear naked choke loss to Input Kazangane back in April. So I don't know, man. Kazangane is a really good fighter. I don't know how well. I mean, Brahmaj does have 8 submission wins, but the opponents that he's fought, and I don't know if they've been high level opponents. I've only watched about 2 or 3 of his fights. But I know Sasha has decent striking. He has better striking, in my own opinion, than Brahmaj. And I'm pretty sure that he'll be able to keep it on the feet. He's 6 foot. Let's see what the height difference is. How tall is Brahmaj? 5'10". So yeah, I mean, they're around the same height. The reach is probably pretty similar as well. I'm gonna rock with Sasha on this one. I think a lot of people are gonna be picking Ramis. Something's telling me he's probably gonna be the favorite for this fight, but I just don't see it. The only way he probably wins is if he gets him down and submits him. I don't see him KOing Sasha. Yeah, I mean, that fight might be entertaining. I don't know. Let's hope this guy's fucking ear doesn't bust open. His other ear doesn't bust open or anything like that. It was fucking nasty. Next fight, Martinez versus Trevin Jones. I'm not sure if he's supposed to fight Trevin Jones or Jesse Strader, but I watched Martinez's highlights. I wasn't really impressed. He has an 8-2 record. Really sloppy on the feet. Really sloppy on the feet. He does have 8 KO wins. He's been submitted 1 time. He's got 1 decision loss. He lost to Draco Rodriguez by triangle choke. That was back in September of 2020. Yeah, man, I'm pretty sure that he's supposed to be fighting Trevin Jones. So I think Trevin Jones might be a replacement fight. So, but I'm probably gonna rock with Trevin Jones. I think he'll get it done. I'm not gonna really talk too much about that one. I wasn't impressed by Leah Mana's fucking striking. It wasn't that good, honestly. If you go back and watch some of his fights, I watched a few highlight videos of him, and I watched a few of his earlier fights, and I just wasn't impressed. He kicked some guy in the groin and shit, and the guy, I guess the referee didn't see it or whatever, and he had his hands down. He was complaining. The guy he was fighting was complaining. I forgot who it was, but and Leah Mana knew he kicked him in the balls, but he kept striking with him and ended up knocking him out while he's complaining about getting kicked in the nuts. So it was kind of fucked up. But yeah, I don't think Leah Mana's gonna win the fight versus Trevin Jones if he's fighting Trevin Jones. If he's fighting Jesse Strader, which has a 5-2 record. Jesse Strader has 4 KO wins and 2 KO losses, coming off of a loss to Montel Jackson. It depends on who he's fighting, because I mean, Sherdog has him fighting Jesse Strader. The UFC website has him fighting Trevin Jones. So I'm gonna go with the Trevin Jones pick though. I think he can get it done. Next fight, Roosevelt Roberts versus Ignacio Bahamondes. You already know who I'm rocking with. I'm rocking with my boy Roosevelt Roberts. I'm a fan of him. I like his fighting style. He's very long. He's very rangy. He's pretty loose on his feet. He's got decent boxing fundamentals, which I always like to see in prospects and UFC prospects. I like his nickname, the Predator. That was when he had the dreads and shit. 3 KO wins, 5 submission wins, 1 submission loss, 1 decision loss. He's kind of been hit or miss lately, I guess. He did rear naked choke. His last one was to Brock Weaver. Brock Weaver's not in the UFC anymore. I think he's in bare knuckle now. But he rear naked choked him in the second round. He beat Yakovlevich, Alexander Yakovlevich by UD. Those were his last 2 wins. The no contest overturned versus Kevin Chrome. That wasn't that good of a fight. Jim Miller submitted him super quick. He got caught in that arm bar, which was disappointing. I picked Roosevelt Roberts. A lot of people told me to pick Jim Miller because Miller has really good submissions, and he's been around for a while, and he has way more fight experience than Roosevelt Roberts. But I can see Roberts actually getting the job done. He's probably going to be a unanimous decision or a split decision win. He's fighting Ignacio, which has 8 KO wins, 3 decision wins, 2 submission losses. So I mean, yeah, if Roosevelt Roberts can get him in a position on the ground, or like a guillotine or a rear naked choke, which he's really good with his guillotines because his arms are super long, and he's got pretty decent sized hands. So yeah, I mean, I just wasn't impressed by Ignacio. He fought John McNessie. He lost by split decision. He beat Edson Gomez on the Contender Series by front kick. The dude's all right. I think Roosevelt Roberts is going to piece him up, though. Yeah, I'm rocking with Roosevelt Roberts on that one. Next fight, William Knight versus Fabio Charon. A lot of people are picking Fabio Charon. I've talked to a few people, and they're picking him. I'm rocking with William Knight on this one. I think he can get it done. I think he has decent wrestling as well from previous fights that I've seen. He's got decent takedowns, double legs. So I think he can get... Charon does have a submission win. I'm pretty sure most of his wins are by submission. 5 submission wins, 1 KO loss. The Water Buffalo. That's an interesting nickname. I kind of like it, though. He lost to Alonzo Menifield by shoulder choke. Yeah, I mean, if you're losing to Alonzo Menifield, which isn't really a submission specialist, I don't know. I feel like William Knight, he's mainly a striker, but he has good double leg takedowns. He's got a shitload of takedowns on his debut fight. Who did he fight on his debut? Alexa Kamur. Yeah, he got like 6 or 7 takedowns versus Kamur, and he wore him out, which was crazy. I picked Alexa in that one. This guy William Knight was like a 68 or 6,900 underdog on DraftKings, which was a perfect fucking pick to have. He got a lot of points from takedowns. But I do think that William Knight can get it done. He lost to Da-Un Jung by UD, which is kind of disappointing. He was on a 3-fight winning streak before that. He won on the Contender Series by TKO, elbows, and punches. But I think he can get it done. I really do think he can get Fabio Charon on the ground and possibly ground and pound him, or piece him up on the feet, as long as he doesn't get caught in some kind of submission. I'm interested to see how many types of submissions he's pulled off, because I know, yeah, anaconda choke, rear naked choke, 2 rear naked chokes, and 2 guillotine chokes. So he likes to take the neck. Okay. Yeah, I think I'm going to pick William Knight on that one. I'm rocking with William Knight. I'm confident in that one. Bea Malecki versus Josiane Nunez. I don't know how to say her first name. Anyways, Bea versus Nunez. I'm rocking with Bea only because of how much height and reach advantage she has, and she has decent striking. It's not great, but she has decent striking. She throws her little push kicks. She has a nice little jab and shit. So I don't know much about Nunez other than that she's super short in this fight. Super short, which is not a good enough reason to count somebody out. But when your opponent's 5'11" and you're 5'2", and you've already had a few fights in the UFC, even though Nunez is 7-1 and Bea is 4-0, Nunez does have 6 KO/TKO wins, only 1 decision loss. She's never been finished, and she's on a 6-fight winning streak coming into the UFC. And out of those 6 fights, most of them went into the 2nd round or the 3rd round. So she has decent cardio. I did watch a little bit of her tape, but I feel like Bea Malecki can get it done. I feel like if she keeps the range and just picks her opponent apart, she should win. She has 2 submission wins and 1 TKO win. So she doesn't really, I don't know. It doesn't seem like, out of her 4 fights, I guess it's pretty even, because she only has 2 submission wins, 1 decision win, and 1 KO/TKO win. So she beat Veronica Macedo. I kind of seen that happening. I picked her in that one. She beat Duda Santana. That's not really impressive by rear naked choke, because Duda didn't do shit and she came in on short notice. Tracy Smith and Faith Davis, those 2 were outside of the UFC. And then she had a amateur fight, which is TKO in the 2nd round. So she hasn't really had that much fight experience. So I mean, this is a toss-ems fight. I mean, Nunez coming in on her debut, she could definitely get a win over Bea and give Bea her first official loss as a pro, or just her first loss in general. She hasn't had any losses in her amateur fighting days. So yeah, I mean, but I'm gonna pick Malecki on that one only because of the size difference. It could play a huge huge factor in this one. But we'll see. The odds aren't out yet, so we'll see what the odds are looking like, and maybe I'll do an updated video of some picks that I might switch up depending on the odds, for parlay purposes and shit like that. But next fight, Brian Keller versus Domingo Polarte. I mean, Brian Keller's been fighting for a minute. He's got a lot of fight experience, and what's crazy is, like, yeah, 22-12 record versus an 8-2 record. He's always the underdog. Brian Keller is always the underdog. He has 10 submission wins, 8 KO/TKO wins, 6 submission losses, and only 1 TKO loss. So he's pretty tough. He's durable. His only TKO loss was to John Lineker, which he went 3 rounds with Lineker, and we all know, I mean, they call him hands of stone for a reason. Lineker is no joke. If you try to brawl with him, he's going to fuck you up straight up. Doesn't matter who you are in that division, he's going to fuck you up if you try to brawl with him. You're going to want to take him down like TJ Dillashaw did, or just do anything other than that. But Lineker, I'm surprised Lineker's not in the UFC anymore. He would be good in bare knuckle or something like that, because he can eat a ton of fucking punches. It's crazy. But anyways, on Domingo Polarte and Brian Keller, I might rock with Brian Keller just because of the fight experience. Polarte, it was a no contest versus Journey Newsom and Felipe Diaz-Calares. It was a split decision. I just wasn't impressed by this guy either. He did get a rear naked choke over Vince Morales, but it was like a comeback victory. I'm pretty sure Vince was fucking him up I think that was the Contender Series. I have to go back and rewatch that fight. He got a split decision win over Adrian Yanez, which is very impressive, man. Yanez has really crisp boxing. But I'm gonna rock with Brian Keller. I think he can wear this dude down. Polarte seemed like he had cardio issues in some of the fights I've watched, and Keller, he can go the distance. He's got decent cardio. He's pretty well rounded, and he's got decent hands. And he's not a guy that you can finish really easy. And Polarte, like I said, he does have 4 submission wins, 3 arm bars and 1 rear naked choke. I just don't see Keller getting submitted by this guy. I don't see him getting put in a position where he's in an arm bar, or really a rear naked choke. Keller is probably going to get it done, and he's most likely going to be an underdog in this fight. Yeah, I'm rocking with him. Next fight, Austin Lingo versus Luis Saldana. I got to look at Saldana's record, because I don't remember what his record was looking like. It looks like they took off the Abdul Razak Hassan versus Antonio Braga Nato. I was going to rock with Abdul on that one, but it looks like they took it off. So Luis Saldana has 15-6 record. Austin Lingo, 8-1 record. Excuse me. Saldana, 9 KO/TKO wins, 5 submission wins. I haven't watched. I'm trying to remember who this guy is. Jordan. Okay, that's who he is. He fought Jordan Griffin. That's the only fight he's had in Jordan Griffin's pretty tough, man. He fought him back in April on the Vittori versus Holland card. Okay, I remember. 15-6 record. That was his only fight in the UFC so far. Austin Lingo's pretty tough. 8-1 record. 3 KO wins, 2 submission wins. He beat Jacob Kilburn by UD in his last fight back in January. He lost to Yusuf Zalal by UD. And he's only had 2 fights in the UFC. He's 1-1 in the UFC, and Luis is 1-0 in the UFC, plus his Contender Series win as well. So, I mean, Luis does have a lot more fight experience, but I think Lingo takes it, man. I think Lingo can take this fight. Saldana's pretty decent, though, from what I remember from the Jordan Griffin fight. I would have to go back and watch a few more of his previous fights before Jordan Griffin, but he had a decent performance versus Griffin. But 15-6 record. He has a few TKO losses, or only 1 TKO loss, 2 submission losses. Yeah, man, I think I'm gonna rock with Lingo on this one. I think he gets it done. I think he gets a TKO win in the 2nd or 3rd round. That's my pick for that one. I think he gets it done for sure. I'm a little iffy on these prelim picks right now, but for the main card, I'm pretty confident in all my main card picks. The prelims seem a little off, and we still have like a little over a week before the fight starts. So some of these might get replacement fights, or some of them might get pulled. We all know how that's been going, where it ends up being 13 fights on a card, and then at the end of the fucking week, there's only 10 fights or something like that, or there's 2 replacement fighters or something. But yeah, these are my prelim predictions. Make sure you guys like, subscribe, comment. Had no clue that I was putting the videos out early. I honestly thought the fights were this weekend, or else I probably would have waited until next week to put them out. But I was already pretty confident in most of my main card predictions, and a few of these people that I knew that were on the prelims. I've watched almost every one of these fighters fight. But I do got to watch a little bit more tape of certain fighters, and maybe I'll make a updated video later on for next week and let you guys know if I make any changes or if I don't make any changes. But I'm for sure gonna throw a few of these in a parlay, and I'll come back in that video most likely and let you guys know what are my most confident picks for my parlays. Yeah, like, subscribe, comment. I'm out.